So, as I know, I am always chosen to give messages that a lot of people aren't going to like. A lot of people are not going to like this message. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, this, well, that. But I have to. I'm chosen to give these messages, and I'm chosen to visit these places in my dreams in the astral because I think spirit guides know I'm strong enough to handle it and I can actually fight through it. So the visitation that I had while I was dreaming, and I was in a meditative state, and I want to tell you guys what I saw, and it was a different part. So I'm going to explain to you how I've been shown hell and heaven in different forms. Okay, so so let me just take a breath really quick because love and light, clear the energy. We're going to speak here. This is a message. It's not to scare anybody. This is not to scare you. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want you to be afraid. But I got to tell you, I go through these places in other dimensions, and I'm shown places that I think a lot of other people would not be able to handle, so they choose me to go see these things. And then when I wake up, I'm like, what was that? Like, what? And they're like, well, you need to tell people this. Like, and I'm like, you want me to tell people this? And they're like, yeah, let them know these messages because they're important. So it's not to scare you though. It's just to give you guidance. That's how I'm hearing this strongly, okay? I am gonna save this live, yes. I always save my lives, always. They're giving me guidance to give to the collective for a reason. And I have other times heard parts of hell and seen it and experienced it, like in this, like while I was awake, I saw it, felt it, heard it. Then while I was asleep, and I've also seen like parts of heaven. Well, there's different parts, is how I want to explain it to you guys very clearly so you understand. My thoughts on psychedelics, hold that thought. Ask that question when I'm done here. So I'm going to explain it to you. So there's different parts of hell and there's different parts of heaven. That's the first thing I want to tell you guys. That there's different dimensions, different state of minds, and different places people end up in hell. So I have seen what I could call the worst of it. I've seen the middle, the top, 7 levels of heaven, 7 levels of hell, as above, so below, right? But this one in particular is the one I want to talk about because I've done videos on the ones I've experienced and the voices I've heard and things I've seen as a holographic image in my room once. And all right, so let me just gather my thoughts and see where my guides have me going with this, because you guys need to hear this message, okay? All right, so I was with my family in a dream, whatever. We were having a nice time, a nice dinner, and then all of a sudden, I left them. And so I don't know if I want to call this hell or if I want to call it like a very low vibrational place. It was very low vibrational, okay? Yeah, Laurie, it's very important that people see this. I actually fought with my guides, like, on telling people this. I was like, should I be telling them? They're like, yes, you should. I think that if you want to be the one, because I keep telling them, like, the truth. Tell me the truth. Tell me what's going on the other sides that I need to tell people here so that they can change and heal whatever is broken or whatever it is so we can move forward. The truth, right? We want to know the truth. Sometimes the truth is not the funnest to hear. So here we go. So I was with my family, we were having dinner or whatever, and I don't know, we were doing something, and I knew this was my spirit guides because I associate with my spirit guides with the color yellow, and right before I went to this part of the dimension, yeah, exactly, Rainey, right before I went to this part of the dimension, a yellow butterfly flew by me, and a girl was like, go, like she told me to go, and so I left, and what happened was I was in a black Mercedes-Benz truck. It was somebody's car, I borrowed it. And I'm driving the car, and I had like all this money on me because I knew I was going somewhere and I needed money on me just in case I get stuck. You see what I'm saying? So I had this money on me. I had like a bunch of stuff in the car as if I was going on a trip. You see? And I was going on this trip and I needed all this stuff with me. And my car was full of things. I had money in my bra part. And now here's the thing. I'm driving the car. And this is how I know I was meant to stop there and see this, because I was, nicely driving the car. I was on point driving it. Then all of a sudden, no matter what I did, my car lost control. And I'm going to explain to you how the place looked, and really try to take your time listening to this. I know it's hard because I'm trying to explain it as I hear it. But let's do this together, okay? Again, it's not to scare you. I want to make sure that I make that very clear. It's not to scare anybody. So now, I'm going to try to read the comments after, because let me just focus. So I'm driving the black Mercedes-Benz, which black always represents removal of negativity or negative energy, right? So I'm driving the Mercedes, and all of a sudden I went from like calm, peaceful place, like where I was originally, and then all of a sudden I just like went, what I could explain to you as like, it looked to me like Manhattan, and like build like houses and very close together houses, but they're like, some of the houses were broken down. Like it didn't look like a pleasant place to be. Almost like you could say, like, imagine the worst ghetto possible. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to like, I don't know. I can't compare it to any places. I don't want to like upset anybody, but it was really like dingy and dark, but like what I'm saying is the houses were torn apart, and like imagine like an abandoned hood. Like, let's say the hood is cool, right? I used to hang out in the hood. I'm talking about like an abandoned place, like dark and dingy and just crazy looking. So as I got approached in the car, I start driving towards more people. And now when I say more people, there was what I could describe to you, very young people, and a lot of them did look like they were in the urban community. Like, like a lot of them were Spanish, a lot of them were Mexican. They look like gangbangers, drug dealers, and I'm not saying, and there was like, I hate to put it this way, you guys, but I just gotta say, like, all right, so I'm gonna say it this way. Do not take offense to it, okay? Because there's, how we, God, I know, I just don't know how else to explain it. Like, you say there's white trash people, right? Like, white trashy people, right? That there's like, ghetto black people, or there's ghetto Spanish people. You see what I'm saying? Every culture, even Jewish people and Armenians, they all have even Albanians, they have the people that are just like shitty, you know what I'm saying? Like the bad part of our cultures. I saw every culture, but like the lowest form of our culture, like like that. So I gotta say, so it was like mad different people, but I'm just gonna say they were all young, probably from the age of, I'll say like 20 to like, the highest age I'll say is like 32. It's as if they were placed in these age groups together in like this same vibration of age and state of mind. That's what I feel it. Yeah, like exactly, Lolaine. It's the stereotypes, and I hate to say it, but that's what I saw. I saw the stereotypes, the ones that you're like, oh, he's definitely a drug dealer. She's definitely a prostitute, But that's what they were. They were all prostitutes, They look like drug dealers. They look like people who were that in this life, is what I'm gonna say to you. So now, when I got there, I'm driving the car. Let me just get focused here, because this message is so important, and I feel like if I don't get it out, it's gonna stick with me, and it's gonna make me more drained and tired, and that's how it works, okay? So I'm driving my car, and as I pull up, for some reason my car just lost control. Like I could not control the wheel. I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm trying to grab the wheel, and it's like, no matter what I did, my spirit guys are like, you need to crash into this so that you can see what's going on. I need you to see this. And I knew that as soon as I was crashing, I was like, why the fuck am I crashing? My right eye is getting heat on it right now. And so I crashed into this, what looks like, where I live, there's like a Jewish community, and they're like, the houses are stacked one on top of each other. It looks very toxic. I'm gonna explain it like that. I'm sorry. but they're like stacked on top of each other. Like almost like the ghetto of Brazil. That's how I could say it was, but like almost like more urban-y looking. And I have to put myself back in the dream so that I could explain it to you guys exactly how I saw it. And so as I spun out of control. I crashed into some girl's car, some house where it was a community of people. There was just so many young men, like so many young guys, all good looking guys, all like, you know, those like, you know what I'm saying? Those guys are like, what's up, baby? How you doing? Like those kind of guys, like they really were those kind of guys. And like so, people we would be attracted to. Let's really keep it a buck. So as I crashed the car, I'm like, fuck. And I remember trying to pull out the money to like offer, because I didn't hit the car hard. I like, boom, a little bump. But as soon as the car crashed, all of a sudden, a mob of guys, they were guys, came to my car. A bunch of them started crawling. You heard how I said that? They started coming in the car, like jumping in the back seat, jumping in the front, and just start stealing from me. They're stealing everything. They're taking all my shit. They're fucking, they saw money on me. And I'm gonna tell you, I have never experienced a feeling like this. It was like, they were like, give us the money now. Like they looked hungry. They looked like they haven't eaten, and they looked deprived of anything that they need. They looked miserable. They looked very, very violent, and like the type of people, like if you trigger them, they're going to like attack you and kill you. Like they were giving me like vibes of like give us the money now. And I'm like, yo, I just wanted to offer her some money because I hit the car. And he was like, give it to me. So I pulled out some of it and acted like that was all of it, and I gave it to him. It was like these weird $100 bills. They had like the number 1, 2, 4, 3, 3, 3 on it, or 14 0 0 0 0. They were like $100 bills, but they were like $130,000 or $110,000. It was a lot of money, and they were taking it from me like that. And I was just giving it to them. And then I was like, get the fuck out of my car. Like, yo, they were so disrespectful. Like, they just didn't care. Like, they overran me. Like, they were trying to intimidate me. But because I'm tough, I was like, I got out of the car. I said, get the fuck out. I'm trying to leave. So I grabbed, they were like, we're going to call her now. We're going to call, like, she was like the main person there. Like, I don't know if she ran the place or something, but she like was not outside. She was inside, like, and these were all her minions type of thing. That's how I was feeling. And they were like, I was pulling him out of the car, like grabbing him, and I'm throwing him on the floor, crushing him. And let me just tell you, they were like crushable. Like I was crushing their souls, like their bodies. I was like, I had to like fight them like that. And so I pulled him out, and everybody else was like, oh shit, like, wait, she might not just be just anybody. She's crushing him. Like, let me stay away from her. So they kind of backed off a little, like, okay, I think she was sent here by someone. So I get in the car, close the doors, and I speed off. Like, I drive off so fast. So fast. I drive off fast. And then what happens? It's like, I know it's getting intense, Flo, but you have to continue this. Like, I can't have you leave just yet. So I pull up, and I'm trying to leave, and all of a sudden, like, a bunch. And I'm going to say, at first, it was all men. Young guys. Young men. Very young men. And I'm going to say, like, it made me sad that all of these men, like these young, lost souls, stuck, desperate, just can't seem to find their way out of a certain darkness. And I'm going to say it too. I'm going to say what I'm hearing. Even though they think like they're living good and all, in their minds were so dark that they ended up in this place all together. But they all feel like they're chilling. It's like almost like it was like a jail, a yard of a jail. And everybody was like, but they looked miserable. Nobody was smiling. Nobody was happy, nothing. And they heard I had the money. So I'm telling you, it was so many people. Oh my God, it was nonstop people. It was like the sadness that I felt when I woke up was like, oh my God, like, damn, bro, that's a lot of fucking people. And even though like they're not burning in hell, and like their souls are not being tortured. They were being tortured because they were torturing themselves. You see what I'm saying? So I want to make this very fucking clear that every single one of them looked like they put themselves there. They understood what they did and they were fine with being there. Like as if we're not leaving here, we're good. Like we're going to chill right here. And I'll explain the other scenes and situations I've seen. And they do a lot of dirty work here on this plane as well. And I'm going to say a lot of weird shit. And one thing I'm gonna tell you is they must have known I was a light worker or something, because when they came to me and they were like, we know you have the money on you, give it to us now. And they saw food and all this stuff in the car and they were stealing all the stuff from my car. And I was like, just fucking take it, I don't even care. And I was like, don't fucking touch me, I'll give it to you, don't touch me. And he was like, one of the guys, he's like stood there and he was like, go ahead, give it to me. And I went in my bra and stuff because I thought they were going to start going in my bra and shit. But I'm telling you, they knew not to touch me for some weird reason. So I gave them the money, whatever. And they like looked at me and they rolled their eyes like I was scum or something because I didn't want to be a part of what they were doing. Now they took the car, they stole the car. Then all these young girls, I can say to you that these girls, and I'm just going to say what I saw them doing, the girls were wearing like tight dresses. I have to say, this is what I saw. And do not think that I am like sitting here judging people and saying, oh my God. No, I'm not saying when you wear tight dresses, you go to hell. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is what I saw. That's it. They had like, the girls were like, all like, you know what I'm saying? Those girls like, fuck you, bitch. Like they were just the most ratchet, like drama starting, fight starting, I don't give a fuck, bitch type of energy. And like now from the men, I was taken towards like the woman's part. They kind of were mixing together, but I gotta tell you, the men and the women were not allowed to like go next to each other. So it was like almost like a punishment and a torture, as if they can see each other constantly, but they can't intertwine. And as I'm talking about this, I'm getting this image of like, I remember all the girls being on this side and like the guys on this side, and they couldn't, like they could see each other. They like could see what each other are doing. And I could hear the guys going, what's up, baby? But they could not. It's like jail. Like, when the CEO walks by, the CEO walks by and whatever, and the jail guys like, what's up, baby? But they can't, like the gate won't let them get to them. That's how I felt. And all of the girls were dressed like, they were just ratchet. I'm just going to say it now. And they were all different cultures, all different religions, all different everything. They weren't all Christians and all Muslim. No, they were just all people. It was humans, not religions. It was their state of minds. And these girls that were there, they stole my car. They're the ones who stole my car. And as I walk out, like looking to like pay someone, I go to this car, these girls, and I feel like laughing because they were stealing it just so they thought it was funny. I was like, all right, guys, somebody took me. They were like, let me take you to them. Like another chick story. She was taking me to the car to show me like they're in that car. And I'm like, but that's not my car. Where's my car? She was like, oh, honey, your car's gone. I was like, oh my God, yo. And I go to her, what the fuck is going on here? She goes, oh, we're all like fucking prostitutes and crazy people here. She's like, I don't know how you got here, but she was like, the exit is that way. Like she pointed that way, like, because I guess somebody told her to help me out with that. So I start walking out and I start leaving. And as I'm leaving, I just started crying and crying and crying. And like, you could hear them all like laughing and like, bah, sucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, no, I'm not the sucker. Like, you're all very, like, almost like I wanted to tell them, oh, why are you here? Like, what are you doing here? You're stuck here. Like, they were just doing the same thing every day. They had no food. They had no money. They were hungry. Here's how the big message that I'm getting here, the most number one important message I got out of everything is the most important thing to these people were in this dimension where they were stuck in their mind, the state of mind was money, stealing, treating people like shit, laughing, joking, taunting, I'm hearing, bullying. This was their main fun in life altogether. Like when they were alive, all they cared about was money. All they cared about was like hustling and making money and robbing people and shitting on people. And they thought it was funny to like play people out, and they thought it was hilarious. And this was their life's purpose and mission. Like they just didn't give a fuck. And even if you try to explain to them that they're stuck in a place where it's not good for them, they didn't give a fuck and they laughed at you. Right. Mockery, money, and pain. And it was a very tragic thing to see as a person who loves everyone and wants everyone to be happy. It was a very tragic thing to see, but I didn't let it affect me because, again, I was told that they chose this path and they didn't want to get out of this path, so they chose it. So the big message that I got here out of it, for sure, is that the world is working on themselves. There is a lot of people that are, but you need to understand that in this world, there are people who choose. God doesn't punish anyone. I want this very clear message to come out. God is not punishing anyone. They choose to ravel in their own shit and their own misery, and they don't want to change, because I have visited parts where people are trying to get out of there and go learn in schools, and the way it works is like a separation. Like, let's say on this side was like, there's the light and this is the darkness, and so many times they're like, they are brought here to this open door and they're asked, do you want to come through and learn? And a lot of them choose to just go back to the darkness. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel. You need to understand. And exactly, you choose your route is basically what Spirit tries to show you. And they wanted me to like warn everybody specifically. Not like warning like you're all gonna go to hell. That's not the warning. The warning was like, whatever you choose in this life, that's where you get stuck in the afterlife. I want to say to everybody out here, like, I know everybody wants to believe that we all go to heaven and then people go to hell. No, there's different parts of heaven and there's different parts of hell depending on your state of consciousness and your being. The way you are here, the way, people don't want to do the work. It's not easy, but that's the thing. They're forgetting in the first place that they came here to do work. And then when they don't even like attempt to do the work, even after they've got several and multiple signs and visions and clarity on this is what you need to do, and nobody's doing it, it's because, it's a state of laziness, a state of like, it's easier to be bad than be good. It's easier to be bad than be good. It is 100% easier. You might say for those people who have a conscience and know that it's not moralistically right to be bad, it's hard for them because they know every day that they're doing something bad and it really hurts them and it bothers them. That's a different situation. Those who don't know how to get out of that cycle, I would say it's hard for them because everybody goes through that stage where you don't know how to do good. You know what I mean? And so you do, but you don't know how to get out of that state of negativity, because remembering that all of these energies that I saw, these people, they look like they were helping influence people to do bad as well, because they were all encouraging each other to steal, and nobody was like, no, don't do that, stop. Not one person. I tell you, thousands. It was a wave of people. Like, I could just nonstop, and not one of them was telling each other, don't do that. Like, leave her alone. Not one out of those thousands of people. They just wanted my stuff and they didn't give a fuck. And it looked like if they could have, which they couldn't because I'm highly protected when I walk through these realms, if they could have ripped me apart, they would have, but they couldn't. So it was like, they were like, we can't touch her, but we could take her shit though. You know what I'm saying? Let's just take her shit real quick. But guess what? I heard this as well. That money they stole from me, they can't do nothing with it. It's nothing there. It means nothing. It's like an illusionary state. Like illusory state where they want stuff, but they can't do nothing with the stuff because the stuff means nothing where they are. You see what I'm saying? That's another important thing. Yes, and you can't save the world. The world doesn't need saving. What the world needs is for us to just continue to give messages. And again, we need darkness and light. It's a balance. And that's how the world was created, for a reason. If everything was perfect, we wouldn't be here on earth. I got to explain this to you also. The point of us coming here as light workers, as people, and as just human beings is to actually change whatever we can, but remembering that the cycle goes on and on and on, because people who are in the darkness, they don't get out of the darkness, so they have to like restart the whole program. And the whole point of coming into being a human being is to actually make the process, it's harder, but it's quicker to fix what I don't want to say fix. It's quicker to transform and transcend your energy here And it is a lot more painful because you're a human and it's a lot of like spiritual experiences and it's confusing at times. But in the on the other after in the spiritual realm or the dimensions that you get stuck in, it's way harder. It takes way longer to change or to, those who choose to reincarnate here as humans again and again, they want to change and they want to fix something that they feel like they shouldn't have done and they feel guilty about, and they feel like they want to come here and be a man of peace after lifetimes of war, or a woman of change after never changing and being a bad person. But those people who decide like, I'm okay with being bad, like I'm good, they're in their world and they're suffering for it, but they don't even know they're suffering because God loves everyone and God doesn't want them to even know they're suffering. They think they're in a good place. You got to understand what I'm trying to explain to you is that no matter where you are and what part of hell, even if you're the worst demon on in the world, I got to tell you that they're happy being demons because God makes it comfortable even for them. You know why? Because God loves everyone. So in your crazy mind, you're thinking like, this is amazing where I am. This shit around me smells like flowers and roses. But as opposed to if I walked in there, I'd be like, oh my God, it smells like shit in here. They'd be like, what are you talking about? This shit smells like roses to me. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's how God loves you that much. Makes you comfortable even in hell. But you don't even know that you're being punished. Excuse me. That you're punishing yourself. You see what I'm saying? And I want people to clearly understand this. That God ain't, no, God is not, I understand the Bible says heaven and hell, you're going to burn in hell. And listen, a part of that is kind of true because you put yourself there, right? And you put yourself there. And if you don't make changes in your life, that's why when they say repent and all that stuff, it's not even about God. It's not asking God for forgiveness. It's really you. It's the self-work. It's the working on you so you can transform and you could be in a place of healing and happiness for you. Do you see what I'm saying? And so what everybody needs to understand is that if you work on you, no matter everything else, those places that I visit in my dream, are they sad? Of course it's sad for me, but it's not sad for them. They are happy being there. That's my point. They're happy being there. And so if they're happy being there, I'm happy for them, honestly. At the end of the day, just you're not going to get me involved in that and try to get me going towards that state of mind and state of consciousness. But if they're happy being that way, I have to be happy for them. You got to understand that in this reality, if you don't work on yourself, nobody else is going to work on yourself for you. Because I've had moments where I was like, let's say in this big, like, would look like this big, like, mall type of place. And I'm here, like, looking at all the darkness. But right across from me was the light. Like, the light was literally right across. And I'm, like, telling people, let's go over there. And they're like, no. And I would walk that way and be okay with it. And I do feel strongly like, I've worked many, many lifetimes to get to this point where I could feel like I'm finally in the light, because I feel like for a couple of lifetimes I might have, that's why I'm looking at doing the past life regression therapy. So if anybody hears or knows of a good past life regression hypnosis therapy, I want to see in my past life what, it is that has led me to these missions and feeling this way in this lifetime, because I really do feel like it's a connection. And, I have reincarnated many, many, many times. I do feel like I was somebody who was powerful and took advantage of the system a lot of times, or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter. It's not like in a negative way. I'm curious to know so that I can continue to work and heal myself in this lifetime, which I am. I'm going to never stop, right? I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm also not going to stop giving messages that I'm guided to give, So I just wanted you guys to know that, there's different parts of hell. There's different parts of heaven, okay? Yeah, Audrey, because we have anxieties about our past life because we did a lot of intense things that we're like, what? Like, for me, I know I've drowned before, for sure. Probably been burned alive, because I know for a fact I've seen myself in past lives. That I was a slave at one point, because I remember seeing a dream of me being in these crates, and I was like at the very bottom, and I was like this. Like, I died in that lifetime. Like, I guess maybe... Ooh, that fell right when I said that. That's one of the lifetimes that affected me. This is why I'm so claustrophobic. You cannot put me in small spaces. Just thinking about it, I couldn't breathe, but I started to get used to it and started to control my mind. I was put in like these crates, like like human cages, and I was at the very bottom. There was like people stacked on top of each other, and we were in some kind of dark, dingy like place. I think we were on a ship sent somewhere, and I died on that ship. Like I suffocated to death or I drowned to death, one or the other. I was stuck in the crate, like I was stuck in there. So you know, they usually say you'll know your fears from a past life and what they were by what you're afraid of in this lifetime. So if you're afraid of like, you know, tornadoes, you might have died in a tornado. If you're afraid of hurricanes, you might have, you know, been a part of a hurricane and died in a hurricane. They say whatever your fears are in this lifetime, that it definitely is connected and linked to your past lives. So I had a couple of fears growing up. You know, I was afraid of a few things. One of my biggest fears was the world ending. I had to get over that fear because I definitely was a part of at some point or another when the world ended. So that was one of my biggest fears. I had to get over that. And a lot of people are afraid of that now because they don't realize they were a part of a world ending time period. So they're scared. You know what I'm saying? You're afraid of clowns. I don't know. Maybe somebody like who was wearing makeup or dressed like somebody very creepy did something to you. You know what I mean? Maybe you were molested by a clown at a fucking party. You don't know. But the point is, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I wanted to give you guys that message, and I'm gonna jump back in with a reading if you guys are down for that. I do want to do a reading, so we can clear some information up here. I feel like messages are necessary right now. So if you guys want to jump back in, I'm gonna jump into the signs right now. Okay. I kind of want to do it on YouTube, but I know a lot of people don't really fuck with YouTube like that. Yeah, that's good, Audrey. That's good. Yeah, all right. I love you guys. I'll see you back in a couple of minutes, okay? Yeah, I'm going to get back in. I'll be right back.